from the footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Memory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you a 2013 CFL season preview. We're taking a look at the BC Lions. We're going to break down their offense, their defense, as well as their special teams. But first, let's take a look back at the 2013 draft to see how well the Lions did this past May.
This was a pretty awesome draft class for the BC Lions. You look at some guys that they were able to come away with. Bola Combo next year will be one of the best linebackers in the CFL, mark my word. This guy brings tremendous speed and athleticism off the edge, tremendous playmaker for the Oregon Ducks. You also look at Cameron Thorne, defensive tackle out of Guelph, 6'5", 290. This guy will see a lot of action this year for the Lions on their defensive line. What I liked most about the Lions draft was stealing S.J. Hadara in round 2, arguably the best wide receiver in the draft class. They got him in the second round, and he may even see a lot of time this year in their receiving packages as both either the receiver or a slot back. The one thing I didn't like about the Lions draft is that they went with Hunter Stewart in round 1 over a guy in Matt Sewell, who was the consensus #1 overall tackle prospect in the draft. And I know hindsight is 2020. Sewell went back to school, but you don't pass up on a talent like that for a guy in Hunter Stewart. Now, don't get me wrong, Stewart is a good player, but he's not Matt Sewell, and that's the only thing I didn't like about this Lions draft. I'm giving the Lions an A for their draft. Really enjoy what they were able to come away with. This is a team that's constantly building for the future. You saw last year how many of the draft picks made contributions at the receiver position. Their offensive line, they had to revamp and get younger, and I like what they were able to accomplish. So overall, this was an A for the BC Lions. Travis Lulay is one of the best quarterbacks in the CFL. Last year, Lulay threw for over 4,200 yards and 27 touchdowns. It's his underrated escapability in the pocket that makes him tough to game plan against, and he does a great job in spreading the wealth and getting multiple receivers involved in the offense. Now, behind him is former Winnipeg Blue Bomber quarterback Joey Elliott, who came over via free agency, and he will compete in battle with second-year guy Thomas DeMarco out of Old Dominion for the backup role. My money is on DeMarco. I love his athleticism, and he was very productive in college, and I love what he brings to the table. And if anybody's going to step in and help keep that offense on pace, it would be a guy with the skill set of DeMarco. Andrew Harris enjoyed a breakout season last year, rushing for over 1,100 yards. Remember, the running game was a question coming into the season, but ended up being a huge strength and giving the Lions exactly what they needed. Harris also caught 75 passes for over 700 yards. That's the type of dual threat guy you want in the backfield. Now, backing him up are guys that are just as explosive. Keep an eye on rookie running back E.C. Sofel out of Cal. At 5'8", 200 pounds, Sofel is a very underrated inside runner, but has that Barry Sanders-like agility to make defenders look foolish in the open field. Anthony Dixon out of UConn gives the Lions a short yardage goal line back who does possess that breakaway ability, so he would be essentially your quote-unquote complete back. And the fullback position is solid with 6-year vet Riley Lumbala, so there's no concern there. So all in all, this is a very talented and dangerous group, one of the best units on the team. Gone is the future Hall of Famer G. Roy Simon, but the Lions receiving corps, in my opinion, is still in good hands. They get back a healthy Paris Jackson, who's going to be more involved in the offense this year. They also welcome back Emmanuel Arsenault, who was in the NFL the last 2 seasons, but back in 2010 when he was with the Lions, he caught 67 passes for over 1,100 yards. And 4 young guys that really broke through last year and provided big-time results as they developed chemistry with Travis Lulay. That's Sean Gore, Nick Moore, Marco Iannuzzi, and Akeem Foster. Aside from Moore, all guys were draft picks by the Lions, so that's a testament to their scouting department and their ability to develop players. Also keep an eye on 2013 rookie S.J. Hadara, who was taken in the 2nd round and was arguably the best wide receiver in the draft. I'm a big fan of the offensive tackle position with 2-time All-Stars Ben Archibald and Javon Olafoy, who was named the 2012 Most Outstanding Offensive Lineman. Both guys are some of the best bookends in the business, and the position got a boost in the offseason when they signed their 2012 draft selection, Kirby Fabian out of Calgary. And I saw Kirby Fabian up close and personal down at the East-West Shrine game, and he was holding his own versus some of the top talent in the country. Now, the Leos also are pretty tough on the interior as well, with Patrick Kabongo, 6'6", 360 pounds, and center Angus Reed, who's a 3-time West Division All-Star. However, they're pretty thin on the inside as well, so look for some of these tackles on the roster to see some time inside at the guard position. They can't afford any injuries up front, otherwise that could derail what is already a very explosive offense. BC has the best defensive line in the CFL. The Lions led the league in sacks last year with 47, and defensive end Karan Williams was the leader of the pack with 12. Williams is a guy that can dominate a football game in an instant. Opposite of him was 2012 first-round pick Jabbar Westerman, who the Lions traded up to get. That's how important he was to their team's long-term success. Westerman, who played at Eastern Michigan, was named the most outstanding rookie for the West Division after his 4-sack campaign. Now, defensive end Kareem Smith provides excellent depth and was a contributor on that defensive line with 7 sacks last season. On the interior, you look at the 6'2", 309-pound defensive tackle. Eric Taylor is a hassle for opposing guards in the league to deal with and was a very integral part to not only helping the Lions lead the league in sacks, but also own one of the best run defenses at 76 yards a game given up in the CFL. Adam Bighill, second-year man from Central Washington, was the Lions' best linebacker last year with 104 tackles, 9 sacks, and 4 interceptions. At 5'11", 230 pounds, Bighill excelled in pass coverage as well as a blitzer. Next to him is Anton McKenzie, who's in his 8th year in the CFL, 5th with the BC Lions, and is one of the more instinctive linebackers in the game. The speed and athleticism of Solomon Alimian completes this unit. Alimian is a guy that's your prototypical CFL linebacker. He's speedy, he can run with the best of them, and can get out there and cover most slot backs. The Leos are also encouraged with the progression of 6-year vet Jason Aragi, whose playing time has increased over the years and should garner even more this season in certain packages. The Lions also had the #1 pass defense in the league last year, only allowing 20 passing touchdowns. That's the least in the CFL. 237 yards passing in a game, which was first in the league, and 7.5 yards per pass, which was also first. It was second in total passes completed. That's getting the job done, and that's due to their talent and the experience they have in the secondary. Ryan Phillips and Corey Banks have played together in BC for the last 8 seasons. Both guys have played at a very high level for a very long time. Last year, they added Lynn J. Shell from Toronto to the mix, and he also paid huge dividends. Look for second-year player Gerard Lawson to make a significant contribution after spending last season mostly on the practice squad, as well as safety J.P. LaRose, who was primarily a reserve last year, and they also drafted 2 rookie defensive backs that have a legit shot to contribute this year, Matt McGarva out of Windsor and Matt Walker out of UBC. There could be a big battle for the kicking duties this year between 21-year vet Paul McCollum, who's been with BC for a decade, and 2011 second-round draft pick Hugh O'Neal. McCollum was 84% last year on his field goal attempts, but at some point, the Lions will want to make that youth movement with the talented O'Neal. Now, the return game is in very good hands with the super explosive Tim Brown, who had over 1,300 yards last season on kickoff returns, 900 yards with punt returns, and 2 touchdowns. E.C. Sofeli, the rookie out of Cal, may also see some time as a kickoff returner. So this unit by far is one of the best, along with the running back position on this BC Lions ball club. The road to the Grey Cup for the BC Lions goes as follows. #1, don't fall asleep on the road. They struggled last year on the road, and that's what kept them out of the Grey Cup championship game. This team has to find a way to win on the road to make the road to the Grey Cup go through Vancouver. #2, they have to play better in the red zone, and quiet as kept. As explosive as this offense was, they struggled in the red zone. They had to settle for a lot of field goals. That has to be touchdowns this year in order to reach the ultimate goal. And #3, stay multiple in the personnel. You got a lot of young talent. Utilize that young talent to stay fresh, because it's a long 18-game season, and if you want to make it to the end with holding that championship trophy, you got to stay multiple in your personnel. I have the Lions finishing first in the West Division, and this was a no-brainer in my opinion. When you have the best defense, both pass defense and run defense, you're going to win a lot of ball games. And their offense is nothing to sneeze at. They have a young and talented improving receiving core. They also have one of the best quarterbacks in the game, all of which points in the direction for this team being very good, not only in the regular season, but also in the postseason. And I also want to give a huge shout out to BC Lion fan forums for always showing football game plan support.